Hey guys, Doug the Retirement Guy. We have an update on YieldMax Ultra Option Income Strategy, which is the ULTY. The dip is here. It's taken some major drops today, so we wanted to get out with a video to show you guys what's going on and talk about it, keep it open. So before we get into this, I want to say thank you to all the subscribers out there. If you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button, get updates as we get them, and we'll keep you guys informed. So let's take a look at today's video of the ULTY. What's happening? Why is it going crazy? And see if we can't make some head or tails and help you guys out. The dividend yield bumped up to 86.3%. So there's already starting to climb there. So let's talk about it. Notice to all viewers, the past performance does not guarantee future results. The information provided in this video is for educational and informational purposes only. It should not be considered financial or investment advice. The examples and suggestions discussed may not be suitable for all individual situations. Always talk to a financial advisor or professional before making any financial decision. So ULT price drop. You can see as of this morning, this thing has taken a major drop, down 5.7% over the past 5 days, down to the $5.96 price point. Now, I hear a lot. We've been getting a lot of comments. Different people say the sky has fallen. Is this the end? Is this over? ULT's done. It did not hold the $6.40 price range that we talked about just a couple weeks ago. It's now down to $5.96. What is going on? If you look at the performance today, it's already down 2.93%. 5 days down 5.7. We've lost all of our gains. The 1 month is down 3.72 and the 6 month is down 30.78%. I know that this is a panic situation. I know this is where everyone's like, whoa, 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 what's going on? We need to just stop and regroup and think about it. So why is the stock down? Let's understand the recent changes, what's happened, and are you confused and worried why ULT had a price drop? Well, it is earnings season, guys. It is the time when the companies start announcing what's going on. And if you've watched any of my videos, you know we've been talking about the April 2nd tariffs and all the stuff that's gone on. Well, that's only 4 months ago. And what's now starting to show up on the books? And we're starting to see falling sales numbers are hurting confidence. Okay, we just had a great financial report, and then you hear that the banking is keeping their numbers up, but we got good spending, but we don't have a lot of buying from corporations because they bought before tariffs. So now you're going to start seeing the tariffs start kicking into the falling numbers. Investors are reacting badly to the last earnings reports. So we're going to talk a little bit about the different companies that ULTY is invested in, and we're going to look at different things that they're doing as well. But the investors are reacting. They hear bad results, they hear bad earnings, get out, take the money and run. Third, market worries are spreading. People are starting to worry more and more. What's going on with stock market? Are we going to do something? Is the Federal Reserve going to lower rates, or are they going to keep playing politics with it? Is Trump going to go ahead and increase more tariffs on other people? We don't know these things, and that's what makes the markets worry when they don't know. Tech stocks are facing pressure. They have not performed as well as they have. You've seen other videos I've done where the Mag 7 has not performed well in the past 6 months. So now everyone's looking to tech. What's going on with tech? Are they starting to cause issues? Is AI really as big as we talked about? What's going across the board? It's mixed ratings adding to all this confusion. Okay, everything that I just talked about, the first 4 items, is all personal take on information given. So if you're always wanting to look at a negative factor, boy, this is the time to get crazy. If you're a positive person, it's probably hard to find a little good information through all this. And that's partially what our job is to do, is what do we do? Is it time to sell? Is it time to buy? Is it time to hold? What do we do? That's why we do these videos, and that's why we're here to help you out. So let's first off, if you're not familiar, this is not the first video you should be watching, but if you're not familiar with ULTY, you have to understand that this company, it offers and works in a high risk area. They do covered calls, and if you really start looking deeper into this, they are also doing covered puts on strategies of US listed securities. Okay, and what you got is covered calls is trying to sell it on an upswing. Puts are selling it on a downswing, and we're starting to see that ULTY is doing both. Their distribution rate, nothing spectacular to talk about, 86.30. When I say nothing really to talk about, it's moved about 3 percentage points. So when the distribution rate really starts rocketing up and up, that tells you that the price is going way down and the dividend is staying where it's at. Right now, when you see this thing basically staying about the same, the price has dropped a little bit, but the dividend's been holding out. So let's continue on to what are their holdings. And this is what I wanted to look at, was what does ULT invest into? And as we said, US securities, but which ones? And when I did a research and broke it down more into what are they doing, first one that they're doing is that we have is Coinbase Global. Okay, they're investing into coin and doing options and so on, options and calls all the way through on coin. So that is your Bitcoin. That is your cyber. It's all your cyber dollars that they're working with. Another big one we've talked about on this channel, and that will be Robinhood. Robinhood has had a great massive upswing throughout this past 6 months. They've done extremely well. So I'm positive that they're into two very strong companies, but they also have a lot of volatility. Next one I saw on the list, MicroStrategies, MSTR. Now you've seen videos that have been done by me and many others that MSTY and MSTR is just one of those things that just are constantly going up and down. Now they have struggled lately in the past 6 months, but overall they are a future and a long-term player. The next one is Peloton Technologies, another one that's into the AI business and doing other things along with that. Another strong one. You look at our weekly reports that we give you on that one, they've done very, very well long term. Then we look at the super microcomputers, SMCI. And then the final one that we throw into this that was really experiences is they're actually into the 2 times the VIX. So what that tells me is they're seeing the same thing that everyone else is seeing. We're seeing nervousness, we're seeing uncertainties, we're seeing people scared, and they are going to pick up and try to improve and get more out of the uncertainty that everyone's doing to try to keep things going. So the first question I always ask, do we have a fundamental issue with a company or with a ETF fund? Or do we just have the panic attack? Do we have the panic modes, which is what I believe we're seeing? So why is ULT stock down? Do we buy? Do we sell? Well, the first thing is I tell you, do not panic. Think long term. There's no need to be sitting here and panicking and just turning around. Unless your strategy was to sell when it dropped, more power to you. If you're panicking and saying, I'm going to lose everything I got, then you're set up wrong. You should not have as much money into a fund like this that has such volatility and is so dangerous with going down and going up. And I say long term, prices will go up and they will go down. So what I've always said in these type of situations, once you figure out if a company is dialed in or they're set and it's just bad news or bad takes on different things like we've just showed, it's actually when the price goes down, this is when you buy. This is a great time to buy and readjust your pricing. So if you had 100 shares that you bought at $6.30 a couple weeks ago, if you add another 100 shares, at $6.14, you'd have 200 shares, total investment of $1,244, or you're down to $6.22 a share. If you don't understand price averaging or price adjusting, this is a real basic, simple how to do it. Now we know the price of the shares were definitely well below 614, but what it is it helps you get more shares, lower your overall costs. That will help you when all of a sudden the panic stops and the price starts coming back. After we get out of earnings season, you will see this price start rising again, I believe. Remember, always talk to a financial expert. I am not a financial expert. I personally do my own investing, but I am not an expert in any way, shape, or form. But remember, this is the time that you can walk in, and if you're looking long term, use as prime time to buy. If you're looking short term, I don't think this is time to sell because the price is not right. You're buying at the low. Don't you remember? You should always buy on the low, sell on the high. Well, right now, buying on the or selling on the low is not the smart move to do. Holding, if you have funds that you want to have, I would hold. If you have extra cash that you can afford to invest and risk, I would be buying. The whole thing, though, is stay focused on your fund. Stay focused. I'm not saying you have to watch it every minute, every hour, but stay focused. Every morning I sit at my computer. I have a computer screen. It'll come on, and they'll tell me the difference in the pricing of my funds. And so I have an idea of what's going on, and we'll watch it for the pretty much first 3 hours. And then I'm like, okay, I know what's happening today. I'm not going to panic at 4 o'clock. I'm going to be fine. And so that's why we stay focused. So let's talk about what's changed. Well, let's first off, assets under management. This is how much money they're dealing with. In February, when they started this, there's $664 million of assets. On July 9th, they did the big breakthrough. They broke through the $1 billion mark in ETF, probably one of the first, if not the only one that broke through $1 million so fast. We reported this on July 18th that they went from 1.1 billion to 1.6 billion dollars in 9 days. That's adding a $600 million, almost what they started with, in just only a short period of 9 days. Well, we're proud to announce to you right now, as of August 1st, they have $2.45 billion in assets. So the question you first have to ask yourself, is this a fundamental issue, or is this just a panicville that we've gotten some bad information from some different companies that earnings are not going as well as some experts in Wall Street said that they should be? And do we have tariffs that have caused some extra issues? Sure, we're starting to see that now. It should have been built in ahead of time. But people are still pouring money into ULTY. Almost. I mean, I'm going to give a $200 million difference, but they almost added $1 billion in just a couple weeks. Now we take a look at outstanding shares. In January of 25, they start off with 150 million shares being out. July, there was 251, so they added over 1 million shares in 7 months. August 1st, they have reported 398 million shares of ULTY. So this is not just something that is people just deciding to buy because of bad news, deciding that this is going nowhere. People are looking at this and saying this fund has a long legs, has something that can do something worthwhile, and we're going to invest into it. The other thing, let's take a look at the dividend. For the third straight week, this one has paid over 10 cents per share. Now, we know we've had a great July, but we're into the 10-cent category. Worst case scenario, do we go back down to the 9.5 cents? Do we go down to the 8 cents? We don't know. But right now, with the volatility of the market and the funds that we're seeing that they're in and what they can do in selling puts and calls, I don't see that this number's not is going to should stay right around the same, right in that 9.5 to 10 cent range. They've done it for three straight weeks. Uh, you could and take a look at the beginning of July and end of June. They were at the 9 cent weeks. So we've had a very, very strong run. Will it continue? I believe it does. But again, I'm a positive outlooking person because everything I see, I don't see the fears. I don't see the problems. I don't see the issues because I think I call it man-made. I see it that it's just taking a bad information and creating a bigger problem. That's where we're seeing with this one right now. But this thing here is still holding its 10 cents. Now, the other big thing is this fund is still doing dividends of return of capital. Now, this I've seen, and I'll be honest with you, I originally months ago said the same exact thing. Panicville, warning lights. I see return of capital. That's why we started doing this. And that's why we started looking deeper into these funds and saying, what is going on? What is this return of capital? How can assets under management be going up and return of capital be going out? That's like having $100 in your pocket, giving your wife $100 and getting another $100, putting it back into it and saying, hey, I'm doing good. You're just swapping money. Well, we started dealing deeper into the return of capital, and we've really found some interesting stuff, and we want to share it with you again. ROC is a new tax saving system used by ETFs. We're starting to see this across the board. Roundhill just announced it on their XPay they're doing it with, and YieldMax has been doing it on more and more of their funds. Distributions can be classified in many different ways, which is basically says how they're going to be taxed. And in the example of an ROC, if it paid a 30% income and a 70% distribution, so basically what they would call this is a 30-70 ROC. Some people will say, hey, it's a 70-30. But if a fund said this, that has 30% income, 70% distribution, what it means is that ETF, if it was a $50 share and you had 100 shares, so which means you have $5,000 invested into it, $8 of the share is paid out in dividends. That means $800. That means you got an $800 distribution. Okay. 30% of that, of the 800, would be $240, which means you have Uncle Sam knocking on your door saying you need to pay income tax on $240. So if you're in the 28% tax bracket, you're paying 28% of that. If you're in a higher tax bracket, you're going to pay that. If you're in a lower, you're going to pay accordingly. So if you got the $8 a share in dividends, you got to pay 30% of that to Uncle Sam. Now the question is, what is the new tax system that saves you money? What do we do with that 70% distribution? Well, the 70% that you got from, we call income, you receive those in distributions from your funds. 70% of the 800 equals $560. That is then put to the return of capital. So your cost of your investment now goes down to $4,440. And since it's your money coming back to you, you owe no taxes on it. But you still have the 100 shares at $50 or $5,000 in value. So basically, if you stay in long enough, your investment will go to zero. Your value stays at whatever the share price is. We'll just say it doesn't go up. It'll stay at $50 a share, or it's worth $5,000. At that point, your distributions will be part of capital gains. Or if you sell your shares, you're going to have capital gains on those. So you've basically kicked this can down the road 2, 3, 4 years down the road. So you don't have to pay on the chunk of it. Now, ULTY, what do? They're 100% ROC. They're 100%. So it's no 30% program here. It's 100% distribution. So they're looking at this saying, is there capital gains? Do I pay taxes on this thing? Technically, upfront, no, because you're putting everything back as return of capital. Okay, so this is a big advantage for this fund. That's just why I get a lot of people asking, should I put this in my IRA fund? Should I put this in my Roth fund? Is it safe to put this in my regular fund? It is safe in all three funds. It helps you big time in each and every one of them, but primarily with the regular fund, because you're doing return of capital. So it's not meaning that you're just getting your money back, it's doing it in a tax way. So let's get into more of what's changed with this fund, and I'm going to show you guys a little bit past history and so on, because this fund is changing so quickly. Over the past month, the fund was finding its legs. This was the July 18th. We did a report on this one. We thought this thing was going to go, but I also clearly stated, will it hold the 640 rate? I used these drop-offs that you've seen. I said this thing will probably be dropping off. Buy on the dip. But even at 641, I felt the price was okay because of return on your investment. The ROI numbers look great because of the dividends. But we also said very clearly that we started to see a drop-off coming again. Now, did we see it dropping as low as it has? No. But we also see this number going back down to that we thought the 620 range. This is why we always say we're not a professional investor. We don't see the future, but here's what was going on. 5 days, it was up 3.22%. 1 month, up 3.72%. Year to date was down 28.54%. Where are we at today? Well, if you take a look, July 18th was basically right in the middle of the screen, was that top of the line, and there was our dip. There was our drop off around the July 21st, 22nd period. Once we saw the bump back up in that 23rd to the 24th, we said, okay, it's about what we expected. Now everything is doing as planned. What do we happen now? What happened July 31st? What happened August 1st that we went from a 620, 630 number down to a 596? And the answer is it's reporting season. It's earnings season. It's companies reporting what they've done, where they're at, like we covered earlier. But take a look at the two numbers between July 18th and August 1st. The 5-day was positive. The 5-day now is negative at 5.7. The 1 month is at 3.72. It lost everything and lost equal. It's down 3.72. 6 month, they were down 28.54. 6 month here, they're down 30.78. So about a 2% loss in the past 6 months. So what it tells me there is, yeah, this was just a huge drop. This was a big drop. That 5% is going to hurt. But is this, again, a time to buy? Is it a time to hold? Is it a time to sell? I tell you up front, the little knowledge that I'll have, I'll tell you right out, this is not a time to sell. This is a time to hold at worst, and preferably it's a time to buy. Let me show you what's happened in our big reports that you guys, we've tried to show you each and every time. If you bought a year ago, you would have bought $13.82. We bought $10,000 worth of ULTY, thinking this was the greatest stock in the world. We give you a report right now, as of 8/1. You would have lost 56% of your stock value, but you would have collected over $6,200 in dividends, and you would have right now $549 of positive flow 12 months ago. Now, we've also sat down and talked about this and said, did we think 13 was the right number? No. Have we been watching this long enough? We personally feel we have watched this thing long enough and we know the ins and the outs of ULTY. This is why we got into it in April and put our own personal money into this. And I just clarified to everybody, we have money into this and we have bought today. So we're getting very clear today that we have bought even more investments into this fund. We felt that a thing got to a $5 something, it was time to buy, and we have done a set and forget in purchasing. I normally set a number that's ridiculously low, and if the stock falls, the computer automatically buys it. We do a 614, a 610, and now a 5. I believe we are at 597. So we've bought at each one of those periods. So even so, our current fund, without the new purchasing and so on, I did a nice report with this one. $10,000 invested into it. We are still positive $347 of our purchasing because of buying at 576. So we're still positive in our value of our fund. We have collected over $2,900 in dividends. So we have actually so far gained $3,333 or 33% on our fund over basically 4 months. So we're not sitting here trying to brag. We're not trying to tell you how great we are. What we're trying to say is once you have learned and spent time on the funds, you will see when to buy, when to hold, when to sell into the parameters where we're at. If we sold today, cashed our funds out, I'd be happy with a $3,000 gain. But I believe that this thing's going to go back up to the six somethings. And, at that point, we can discuss what we want to do. But I believe we're going to get right back to that 620 mark is where this fund keeps telling us that it's comfortable at. It holds at that price. And it's not built to grow. It's not built to have huge, massive growth. It's built to pay big, big dividends. So is it time to buy? Well, probably premature, what I told you just a couple minutes ago, but I believe right now that this is a ultimate time to buy ULTY. Now, I put you a full yes. I'm a buyer at this. I told you in the last screen we did buy already. Our computer automatically buys at a price that we preset up. I will tell you up front, we did not have the computer set at that 596 price. We had to manually do it last night, set up a price I didn't think that we would get to, which was the 597. So being clear and honest with everybody, we have invested into this, but we believe that 610 is the point or lower to work from. And when we get here on Friday at 596, if you do the return on investment at 610, we use 95 or 0.095 cents as a number that we calculate into our system. That's 64 weeks. So that's about a year and 12 weeks. And you've got all your money back, plus whatever the value is of the fund at that time. So I believe that it's still a very, very safe bet to be involved into. As I look at the computer screen right now, ULTY as we talk is actually up to 602 today. So it's shows here when we started the video at 596, it's already gone up 6 cents to 602. So it's bouncing back in that $6 range, which is about what we expect it to do. Given another week to 10 days, everyone will be back to safe and not have to worry about it. But this is where we say it's time to buy. The numbers are just going to readjust as we go through and get the final report at 4 o'clock today. Guys, this is Doug the Retirement Guy. I hope you all like what we're doing here. We figured we'd have to jump in and do this quickly for you. If you're not a subscriber, hit that button. That's how you get these videos to know what's going on. Hey, and leave us any comments. Hopefully you're not panicking. I hope you're not going crazy. I hope you're like me, Mr. Positive, and buying additional funds. But if you're negative, throw a comment out there. If you're positive, done some good things, let's hear from all the crowds. Guys, We are trying to do everything we can, and we hope to see you in the future.